All right, welcome back to episode 13 of the podcast. Um, though I do want to mention that I've changed the name now, so the name is going to be Consistently Inconsistent. And today, actually, I have a guest with me, Quentin.
Yes.
He's a friend from school. He's also music producer.
Not. I don't typically produce. I play some records from time to time.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, I've been doing that for a few months now.
Okay, yeah. So, but he was interested in joining the podcast,
Yeah.
so hopefully we have a good conversation. So, and then for the other things for the rest of the podcast, like I'll just tell you guys next episode after I've done some ground stuff and got things in order. But for the rest, we're just gonna have a conversation now. So,
Sure thing.
just just a tip: try to
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
because whenever I bring out the microphone, everyone gets like so tense. They're like, "Holy shit, someone's listening!" And I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, we're about to get started, right?
yeah,
No, it's. I mean, it's. I don't know. It feels fine. I mean, like I've told you, I've always wanted to do like a podcast before, so it's for me. It's pretty interesting to just have this conversation. Really. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I guess so because you're a big fan of music. You told me that you what are those like vinyls or like
Yeah, the old school records, I would
yeah,
say. Yeah,
yeah.
the long plays or yeah. Um yeah, I collect them pretty much. I have I don't know, I wouldn't really I would call myself like a amateur collector because I've got around 30 to 40 records, I suppose, and yeah, I like to search for these like hidden gems, I would say, like these old school records. Yeah.
So because I know like you can like there's the hits, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
imagine that like you can play all the classics.
Yeah, sure.
But like what do you mean by like finding hidden gems? Like you just go into a store and you look at like bands and musicians that like no one's ever heard of.
Well, the thing is, because they're just to be clear, like the records that I play for like an audience when I DJ, those are digital ones. I'm learning to play vinyl, which is kind of a different craft altogether. But for actual records, when I go to a record store and search for records, you usually have the opportunity to play a record for a short amount of time, just to listen to actually what's on the record. And for me, the search for records is usually I get inspired by the picture or like the cover art, and if I find it, I don't know, funny or weird in any particular way, I just like to grab that record and see if there's something interesting on that. And the surprise you get when it's actually good, that's the fun part.
So it's like I mean like I mean I'm not into vinyls even though I think they're pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
the how do you say? Because actually on Joe Rogan's podcast,
Mm-hmm.
there was this he was used to be in a band. I forget the name of the band, but but he's also like a writer,
Yeah.
and he's like a really awkward social guy. So
Uh
like
huh.
he doesn't have any family. He has like no girlfriend, no kids,
Oh,
nothing.
really?
Right? So he's just like
Like to this day, or
yeah, yeah. He all he
oh,
does
really?
all
I didn't know
he's
that.
like 50 something.
Uh
All he
huh.
does is work and travel. Right.
Yeah.
I think
And
he
podcasts about that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, he writes like 3 or 4 books a year. Like it's
Wow.
ridiculous. But he what he does is he bought like this $10,000 like sound system
Mm-hmm.
that can play vinyl. So what he does is he just when he writes, he just listens to vinyl really loudly on like his
Yeah, on his yeah his music installation. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like the cuz that people like I've also heard that they it sounds better in a way.
The thing with vinyl is, and I think particularly the reason why it's sort of back here today is because there used to be there used to be tapes, and then you had vinyls, and then you had CDs, and now we have streaming, right?
Yeah.
Of course, there was the iTunes store all in between, but the thing is, what I believe is that not it doesn't objectively it doesn't necessarily sound better when you play a vinyl record over and over. It kind of gets this like the grooves within the vinyl record, right? They get deeper because of the needle, which circles around it over and over again. And the thing pretty much is that it gives kind of a crackle over time, and that's what people would recall as a vintage or I don't know, a feeling of records aging over time, and that's a different kind of sound. But objectively, it doesn't sound better than a CD, for instance.
So it like ages like fine wine.
Yeah, I think that's a fair description.
That's actually
Yeah.
weird because I've never heard of that.
Well, it does. I mean, there are records, and you could go on YouTube and find a recording of a vinyl record, and most of the time you could hear like a small crackle, and that's some dust that's in between the grooves of this vinyl record,
Yeah.
and that's the kind of vintage sound that people all seem to love. Um, and the funny thing with the $10,000 audio installation is kind of that you could invest so much money in this audio installation, but it still remains a vinyl record, right? So if you would invest that kind of money for a CD installation, it would definitely over time sound better because CDs remain this kind of brand new quality.
Yeah, it's
Of course, unless it gets scratched. You know.
Yeah, but for the rest, it's just that. That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So vinyl is kind of like a feeling, more or less. And well, personally, I like the fact that the artwork is bigger and it's something that you can hold and own.
Yeah.
I
get that though.
Yeah.
Because like I'll be like listening to a song on Spotify and like I'll my big thing that I love doing on Spotify is I love like sitting there for like 3 or 4 hours normally when I'm playing like a game or watching some YouTube or something. What I'll do is I'll play music in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And even though like I zone out, like I don't hear the music anymore, but like sometimes my brain kind of like gets tuned in with the music. It's weird because like, and then normally the song that I'm listening to that I get tuned back into is a song that I actually really enjoy.
Yeah.
So it's like weird, like my brain almost like wakes me up as like just pay attention to the song.
Hey, this song is good. You like this song.
It's
kind of what your brain tells you then.
Yeah, what I do is I spend a lot of times looking through like Spotify's playlist and also like other people's playlists, and I try to find like songs that like have, I don't know, probably less than like 1 million streams or something like that.
Yeah.
Because like when you find songs, but like because I've actually found a couple of songs like way before they ever became big, because I was just like,
it's kind of a hipster thing to say that, right?
Yeah, I know.
It really is.
No, I know, but like, how do you say? Like, I'm purposely trying to do that.
Yeah.
So like, it doesn't surprise me that it happens, and like, I'm not walking around like, I fucking knew that song.
I knew that song like over a decade ago.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like it's nothing like that. It's just like, I listened, like I'll be like listening to the radio, maybe in the car or something, and then I hear a song, and I'm like, oh, I fucking know that song. Like I've heard that song.
I've heard this before. Yeah.
Like 6 months ago or something.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, oh fuck, like I knew the song like way before anybody else. So like I don't know, but for me that's just like a personal thing that I enjoy.
It's not something some people actually are being cool about that, which is still weird. But I think in what everybody seems to call the age of streaming, which of course it practically is, I would say that streaming is really great. I use both Spotify and Apple Music, but for me, which kind of ties back in with my ambition for record collecting, is that I search Spotify and I search Apple Music in order to find new music, find new records, and if there's one particular record which I seem to enjoy a lot and seem to play back over time, then I actually go ahead and buy that particular record, because I do think that one of the main reasons that vinyl is back, and I do think over time CDs will come back too, is that people realize that streaming is not owning a piece of music, and when you own a piece of music, it's this it kind of gives more of a feeling that this is the taste that I'd like to listen to, and it adds more to the experience of the music. That's at least what I think. That's what it is for me, for sure.
Yeah. I totally agree with that, because like I'll be playing a song on like it. I hate this, like R&B is like one of the hardest genres for me to listen to, because if you go on any playlist with R&B, I swear to God, every single song sounds exactly the same as the one before.
Yeah.
But just different lyrics. And like maybe a different like tone to it.
Yeah, but a different autotune, but still.
Yeah, pretty much the same. So like it's really hard for me to listen to it because I'm just like, I swear to God, I've heard the song like 50 different ways. Like
Yeah.
it's just
Oh,
getting
yeah.
boring. So, but I feel like if you own like a certain song, then you're like there's value that comes with ownership, right? Like when
Yeah,
you
exactly.
it,
That's the thing.
it's
That's the
like
thing.
when you
Yeah.
like it's like if someone gave you $500 and you worked for $500. Like for some reason, the $500 that you received from a person
Yeah.
just by giving it to you, you respect that way less
Yeah.
than you would the $500 you
Yeah,
worked for.
exactly. And you would spend that $500 or €500 very differently
Yeah.
if you were to work for it yourself or to receive it. Yeah, that's definitely true. And I think that sort of ties back in with the music collecting part is that when you buy something that you actually like or when someone gives you a record that they think you like, I mean that's a whole different experience.
Okay,
Yeah.
but how did you actually like get into music? Like what was the
Like the because we kind of have two subjects here, right? I mean the like the record collecting and the DJing.
yeah, of course. So yeah, you just clarified
Yeah,
it, but
of course, yeah.
but I mean like in general, because obviously you like vinyl and then you
Mhm.
do DJing, but like you probably had something where you kind of like thought to yourself like, I mean maybe it wasn't at the same moment,
Mhm.
but you did have something where you're like, oh, like I want to do this. Like I had that for podcasting as
Yeah,
well.
well, yeah. It first started out um, with realizing. I think it was I don't know during high school. I suppose that with the people I was friends of mine back in the day, they listened to very different kind of genres, different kind of music that I like
Like
to
what?
listen to. Well, of course, we have here in the Netherlands, we have top 40,
Oh, okay.
and it's to say generic songs is
Most of them are shitty, bro. Most of them are.
yeah, it's
just
like these poppy songs which everybody likes, and they're good for a reason because it's commercial in a way and people like to hear it. So it's kind of like the golden ticket to making money in the music industry in that way. But it's commercial, and it's not that I don't like it because it's commercial. It's just because, kind of the example you set with the R&B. It's for me at least. It's always the same.
yeah,
There's
no,
no different kind of thing.
I get that.
Yeah.
Like sometimes like Old Town Road, for example, is
Yeah.
one of the weirdest songs that's
Yeah.
ever been like made
Yeah.
because it literally.
But it's smart though. It's smartly
No.
produced because it's this the beat is really I don't know I wouldn't call it the genre, but it's familiar and it's from these days. It's relevant, and then it has this country vibe, and nobody really likes to listen to country, but then when you combine it, they do, and it's smart. It
Yeah.
makes money. It's great.
I also like the fact that like Billy Ray, like I thought,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
how you say like one of the shows I always watched like when I was younger because like me and my sister we had to watch TV together.
Yeah.
So we would always have to like split the shows, right? Like I would have my shows I enjoy.
Yeah.
She would
of
have her
course.
shows, and then we had like a couple of shows that we both can agree on.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So like one of the shows that she enjoyed was always Hannah Montana, and
Uh-huh.
I never understood it, but I always had to watch her, right?
Yeah.
So, but I don't know, like I like the fact that Billy Ray Cyrus was on that because it was like
Of
for me
course.
it was like childhood, like
Familiar. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
and I also thought he like the way he rolled with it was like it was really chill, like
Yeah.
because like you had a bunch of people debating on like what it was or what it wasn't, and I'm
Uh-huh.
just like, this is a song that's meant to be enjoyed. Like
Yeah.
you can tell by how the song is played,
Mhm.
it is not meant to be like a music intellectual song.
No,
It's just
exactly.
it's just a song you listen to and you go like,
Yeah, and it's familiar. It's fun. It's it combines different genres, and just when you hear it, you just kind of want to groove out to it or something. I don't know. It's good, and
Yeah.
you hear it a lot these days. It's kind of overplayed nowadays, but it's kind of happens with every song that becomes popular.
yeah.
So, but
back
back to the music thing. So that was high school, right? And I realized, okay, this kind of music, I don't. It wasn't the kind of music that when I got home, I would enjoy listening to. These were back in the day. It usually was like these indie rock bands, and I must have been around 16, 17 or something. And
Okay.
I listened to a lot of like Mac DeMarco, for instance. That was like a big influence on I don't know my music taste, and I listened to that guy a lot. I still do. in different ways, but I enjoyed his lyrics a lot. And then around 18, I started diving more into house music, and that was kind of the age that I actually started enjoying going out. And I realized going out in clubs, there was also this more commercial music, which wasn't really my taste. So then some of my friends started living in Amsterdam, and I started going out with them in Amsterdam, and there was this house music that I kind of enjoyed, and I realized that this was the kind of music that I enjoyed going out to pretty much. So that was I enjoyed going out in Amsterdam for those nights and listening to the house music, and then I started paying attention to what these DJs were actually doing. I just had this, I don't know, I was naturally drawn to this art that they were performing pretty much, and it actually took, I would say, another 2 years after that realization until I actually started doing something with that potential hobby, I would say. And it wasn't until here in Leeuwarden, so I would say by now, half a year ago, that I started actually practicing this hobby. And so it was kind of a natural progression of realizing that, okay, the music that's mostly out there isn't my taste.
Yeah, so you kind of had like your vibe of music was very different from, like, how do you say, mainstream. So
Yeah,
like
I
you,
would say,
and because you also like would go out a lot and you you genuinely enjoy certain types of music, you're
yeah.
kind of like you like I know it, like you basically were like, all these fuckers are doing it in the wrong way, like, in a way.
Well, I don't want to come across as that because that just,
Well, yeah,
you
I'm just
know,
that's like a quick way of saying it.
yeah, it's a quick way of saying, but for me, it's mostly that everybody else just do whatever you want to. I enjoy something else, and I'm just focusing on that, enjoying my time
Yeah.
on that other thing that apparently the majority doesn't enjoy, but I do, right?
Yeah.
And it took me a while to realize that because, I do believe that when, I think it's quite logical when the majority of the people you used to hang out with, they enjoy something that you do not enjoy. Sorry. It takes quite a while for you to realize that, okay, I don't actually enjoy this music. I just, enjoy going out with them. And then after that realization, I started diving more into, okay, what is this genre of music? And then this entire world opened up with all these subgenres and different kinds of house music. And I found out that I enjoyed disco music. And after that, yeah, I started realizing, okay, this DJing thing is kind of interesting to me as well. And I sucked at first, of course, everybody does.
Yeah, but so like how, because I how do you say, because you're part of a group, kind of.
Yeah, we're actually that was also, so a quick backstory to that is that for the better part of this year, I started out in the end of January, and then the final party was in the beginning of June this year. I hosted weekly parties at Club Hemingway here in Leeuwarden, and those were called the Houskamer, which is a combination of the Dutch word kamer, which is room, and then house music, and then we made it Houskamer. Yeah, house room. Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of like we thought it was a funny name, pretty much. And there were a couple of DJs, which were, we were all this group of friends, and then we decided to team up together and create a group for ourselves. And then as a group, we realized, okay, that after these parties are done, we still want to continue making music, throwing parties, and then we named ourselves Houskamer Sound System. And I would say that the most of DJing I learned from this group, and in total we're with 4 now. And we're still continuing in doing new kinds of things like drum machines, and we're expanding our setup pretty much.
So are you guys like looking maybe to get like more artists?
Well, we do feel like it's more interesting to do more like invite kind of things.
Yeah, like
invite other artists.
Like, how do you say, like, maybe you meet another, like, one of you guys meets another guy. He's
Mm-hmm.
also into DJing, and maybe he brings, like, maybe there's something interesting he brings to the table.
Yeah. Actually, we started out with 6 in the group, and our style is, and that was also the biggest challenge, I would say, over the last few months is that we realized that okay, for this party, the house camera, we always played this disco house kind of music. But then after these parties were, I mean, after the last edition of this party, we were able to go more of our own way, and to be more free within our, or being more experimental within our style,
Yeah.
right?
So you were less constrained to.
Less constrained. Yeah, exactly. And then we realized that between the six of us, there was still quite a difference in styles, pretty much. One of us was more focused on the techno, and the other was more on drum and bass. And we, where I do believe it's good to have individual styles within the group. There should be a red line to which all of us can agree.
Yeah, there's
yeah.
like a certain synergy that
Exactly.
needs to bring you guys together.
And there wasn't a synergy between the six of us. So two of us actually realized themselves. So it wasn't like
so they were just like,
it wasn't like a hard goodbye. Right?
Okay, yeah.
No, they realized themselves, and the rest of us four realized too. Okay, this is, yeah, like you mentioned, the synergy isn't really there with the six of us. So we should focus on this smaller group, and that the rest can focus on their identity as an artist as well.
Yeah.
So as of now, we've moved on with the four of us, and we've since then played some festivals here in Leeuwarden as a group of four, and yeah, I would say it was a smart decision because now you can really feel that there's one particular style which we're playing in, which is mostly disco and house music.
Okay, because it was actually interesting. So I was, Bruce, of course, you know Bruce.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So I was over at Bruce's place, and he was actually in France. So I was just with Pablo and Marwan.
Okay. You went to France, or
no.
Oh,
I didn't. I
okay.
didn't go on that trip. They
Okay.
already planned that. Like,
Oh yeah, I saw something on Instagram the other day.
yeah, but so Bruce went to France by himself at first, right? And Pablo, Lewis, and Leonard were gonna follow him there, but that would be later, right?
Yeah.
So it was just me, Pablo, and Marwan, and we were smoking some joints, drinking some beer, you know, enjoying the sun. And actually, right across, he has neighbors to his left and neighbors like across from him, and there's like a rooftop. You've been to this place, right? Yeah. So actually, on the house right across from us, Pablo was inside cleaning up, and Marwan was just kind of fucking chilling. He was high as shit. So. Yeah. And I was kind of bored, and I was like drinking a beer, and then the neighbors to the left of us, they started making a bunch of noise, and they're like all girls, and the other house is like pretty much all guys. So like the guys came out and started talking to them. So, and then they started chatting, and then the girls kind of just stopped talking to them. And then I'm like, well, these two aren't doing shit, so I just walked over there. I'm like, maybe these guys are interesting. So, I mean, they also looked interesting. One had a massive afro. The other guy, like, they were, like, really underground looking, you know what I mean?
This was from the house, like, right across the street?
Right across the ceiling. Or, the rooftop of Bruce's place. Like, if you go outside, like, onto his porch on top of that roof, then they're there. Yeah. So then I started talking to them.
Bless you.
Fucking lung cancer. No, but I started talking to these guys, and casual bullshit. Where you from? Where you from? And then I was like, where do you guys study? Because I'd never seen them at Stendon, right? So they were like, yeah, we study at this art school, like here in Leeuwarden. And I'm like, oh, there's an art school here.
Oh, yeah, the Minerva one, I think.
Yeah, I'm not. I forget the name.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I know it was an art school, and I'm like, oh, so like, how did you guys like end up? Like, what do you guys do? And they're like, yeah, we basically are all musicians in our own aspects. So like, one's a producer, one's a singer, stuff like that. And they were like explaining to me. Because the school is basically like you go there, you don't have any assignments, but you have to turn in projects. Yeah. And you can collaborate with other artists, because it's basically just a school full of artists, whether it's drawing or music, right? So you can work together. It's like basically an academy for musicians and artists and stuff like that.
All right, yeah.
And they were describing how Leeuwarden has a shitty underground scene, and like
yeah, it does. It definitely does.
And so
Yeah.
they were like, yeah, we're trying to like get like bring in musicians and like artists and try to form like an underground group so we can
Mm-hmm.
basically try to bring a new form of culture into Leeuwarden, which I was like, as they were explaining this to me, I'm like, this is a good idea. It's probably really fucking hard to do because
Yeah, I mean, to say that the underground culture is shitty is hard to say because it barely is there.
yeah, that's kind of what I
That's
mean.
the
Like
thing.
it's shitty in the
Um,
sense that it doesn't
yeah,
even really exist.
I mean the parties which have briefly just talked about the house camera ones, right? For the music for the music that we played there, house and disco music, it was not, even though we included some hits, disco tracks that are familiar to everyone, we did focus on a more alternative kind of audience, really. And therefore, some of the editions were a success and some were less of a success, of course. Um, but the underground culture, there is what I do believe is that there is a demand for underground kind of parties, underground music, and then I'd refer to genres such as techno and house and pretty much everything that you do not hear in the clubs such as the school and shooters and the most popular ones around the yeah around the strip here pretty
Yeah,
much.
because that's actually interesting because they were like underground culture, like
I mean
it's
define underground
yeah. I'm
culture,
like
right?
first
That's
off,
the
like
thing.
what is an underground culture? Because
Yeah.
like I know the clubs aren't really underground because
No.
everyone goes there, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like there's not really like I don't hear about like you guys are talking about like doing this underground stuff, but I'm thinking to
Mm.
myself like I've never even heard of like
Of perhaps the word underground. I mean
yeah no but like I've never think to my like I know that Leeuwarden probably has an underground culture in some way
yeah, there is an underground
in
culture, yeah,
music
for sure.
and
Yeah.
in other things, right?
Yeah.
But like you don't hear anything about it. Like it's
No.
never even crossed my mind because I'm like Leeuwarden is such a small city. I wouldn't even imagine like that there would be an underground. So like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
my thing is like because like it would be interesting, right? Because like one thing I love about America is that like in each city like and even in like counties like everyone kind of like they're each county in America and there's like a shitload of counties like
Yeah.
probably like over like 300, 400, something like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And each county has like its own like style of music like
Uh-huh.
they like for example like I knew rappers from well I knew a rapper that was up and come well not really up and coming but like he had like 50K followers or something.
Yeah,
He was from
okay, so
Hawaii or
that's
some shit.
yeah.
I talked to a couple of dudes who were from San Diego. They had like 2 or 3 thousand followers on Instagram. Like
Mm.
that's normally how you can kind of tell where the musician is at in their
Yeah.
career
Yeah.
by the amount of
That's
followers.
such a big tool right now. Like,
Yeah,
the amount of followers, yeah.
because it kind of like you kind of rank it,
Mm.
but like and like if you go to like the south part of America, like that, like Atlanta and shit like that,
Yeah,
where like
it's different.
all the rappers come from
Yeah.
and shit like that. So I think it would be cool if Leeuwarden like tried to do that shit. Like just like not maybe like not a festival, but like maybe like try to get an like some sort of like club or bar or maybe and try
Yeah.
to like
Mm-hmm.
try to get like really like music like Leeuwarden music. Like I'm not sure if
I
there
mean,
is
yeah.
Leeuwarden music, but
Yeah, Frisian music perhaps, but no one wants to listen to that.
yeah, nobody.
No, yeah, I do. I think I know what. I think I do know what you're talking about. The thing is that, so first of all, the underground part, right? We do have actually. I've worked with a couple of friends of mine on this underground party, which is called Washok. For the for the Dutch listeners, that's quite familiar, but it's laundry room, and translated. Which okay, it sounds pretty weird, but what it actually is it is this techno party, and it originated from this rave in this this laundromat. So but it has quite a big following, and for the last edition, which we had in March of this year, we had over 550 people that showed up to our event.
Really?
And yeah.
Yo, I swear to God, I've never heard of this.
Oh, there's actually a flyer behind you if you can check it out. But yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, we've had some issues with. I mean, the next one was supposed to happen this Saturday, but we've had some issues with our partner in the sense that they filed for bankruptcy.
Oh, okay. Well, that doesn't help.
No, that doesn't help. Yeah, but that's a different story. I mean, the thing with Wasok is that people come there not because it's a techno party, but because of the environment. I mean, we design it as a laundromat, right?
Yeah.
You come in there and you literally get this what's it called again?
Like a token or something.
Yeah, you get a token in the sense that you get it's Bosborstel in Dutch. I totally.
Borstel.
Yeah.
What's the English word for it?
Exactly, I kind of forgot the English word for it.
So you use it to clean shit, right?
Yeah, you use it to clean your dishes, pretty much.
It's like a brush. It's a brush.
It's a brush. Oh god.
A kind of brush. I was like toothbrush.
Yeah, no. Yeah, exactly. It's a kind of brush. I mean, those kind of tokens in the environment that you get into. I mean, the DJ booth itself is a couple of washing machines.
That's so sick.
I know, man.
Actually, I really like that.
Set up next together, and then they DJ on these washing machines. And it's been around for 3 years now. And that is, the interesting thing is the audience that comes to these kind of parties, you don't see them on the other clubs, the more regular clubs which you have here in Leeuwarden. Yeah. That's interesting. Because they do show up, for Wasserk, for instance, is once every 3 months. And you always see them. It's an audience that is loyal to our parties.
Okay, so there's they're a specific group of people in Leeuwarden.
And you don't see them in Shooters or Bascool every Thursday night. Yeah. It's a different audience, which also, I can't say for sure, but it is most likely to think that they do have a different taste as well, and not such a big taste in the more regular clubs and the music that is played there, but a more personal,
like more alternative.
More alternative, yeah, and that's, of course, underground is usually said in the same sentence as alternative, as it pretty much is. It's something different. Underground is usually just something different.
Yeah, like it's a natural thing that kind of grows in the city.
Yeah.
Because fucking hell.
And the hard thing is, just to get back to the club idea, which we're talking about, is that Wasserk has been in this edition, which unfortunately for now we had to cancel. It was the first time we were to move on to a new location, because we've done it in Hemingway for 3 times, I would say, and then 3 times in Hemingway, and then twice in Club 21, which unfortunately is closed by now. But those were the two main underground locations for Leeuwarden, I would say. And Club 21 was the most underground one, because it was in the city center, but you had to walk through a couple of blocks, and it wasn't in the same location as all the other regular clubs, so it really felt something different.
Yeah.
And you had to actually go to a kind of different place in order to get there, and that was part of the whole underground vibe. But even that didn't survive in the end. So Leeuwarden is perhaps, for the audience, it is in some ways too. I think the audience is in some ways too sober-minded, I would say.
Sober-minded. Can you define that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I would say that all the internationals and stuff, and even the Dutch party audience as well. The majority of them are fine with the regular clubs we have.
Yeah, they're satisfied with what they have.
And I mean, we're about a 20-minute train ride away from Groningen, and they have a ton of underground potential and parties and clubs and that sort of stuff, and they already have a more yeah, more, yeah, how would you say that? More defined name or more.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Cause like, how do you say? Like, I think Leeuwarden is a city that like I don't. It feels like it has like a lot of potential.
Yeah,
Like
it's
it's
growing.
like
It's
yeah,
always growing. Yeah.
it feels like they're really trying hard to make the city
Mm-hmm.
like a well known big city. Cause like
Yeah.
Leeuwarden is unheard of. I didn't even know what Leeuwarden was until I
No,
started looking at like schools here.
of course, yeah.
Because I like Leeuwarden. I'm like, what where the fuck is Leeuwarden? Like, yeah, it's in Friesland. I'm like, what's
It was,
Friesland?
can you define that? Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, I like
Exactly,
I
I
don't know
know.
I don't
Yeah.
know anything about this. I mean, like I obviously enjoy the city now. Like I've
Mhm.
lived here for that was a year, like a week or two ago.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
actually, no, it was a month, a year, 13 months. But anyways, like
Hmm.
I really enjoy the city. So like I always try to like look for small things that the city does. Like for
Yeah.
example, music, because like I was talking to those guys, and then you have like
Hmm.
your group and stuff like that. Like I always find that stuff interesting because I always like when because it's like movement that no one knows about. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you walked into Stenden or into NHL even, which is more of like a Dutch school.
Yeah.
Like if you
Yeah.
walk in
Okay.
there and ask them like, do you know about any of this? Probably like, no. Like
No.
we have no
No.
idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But like because like I was at Patty's one night and I had met this girl while I was on LSD. Like I was walking around, I met her. But we were at Patty's, and then she invited me to like a sort of like psychedelic music
Oh, really?
thing in this bar that's like next to Hemingway. Like this other bar.
Oh, yeah. I think it's this kind of
Yeah,
rock music bar thing. I know. Yeah.
yeah, and
I
so
want. I want. That's such a weird night, but I once took a girl home, which actually worked there, and she told me about that, and then I don't know, a few days later, I realized what that place was, and I was like, ooh, no, I would never go there.
no, I went
Yeah,
there and I walked in and like the vibe was
weird.
so weird
Yeah, yeah.
because it was it was music for shit like you have to be high on psychedelics and like I was
Yeah.
drunk and a little high at that point, so
Uh-huh.
I I definitely enjoy like I like the music, but
Yeah.
I know that I probably would enjoy the music more on on drugs and shit like
I
that. So.
mean, yeah, yeah. There is this kind of music that actually gives you the that suggests that this, hey man, this is actually more fun when you're high. Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
there
yeah.
are these bands. I don't know, like Tim Impala. Perhaps it does ring a bell, but it's this band that really uses like these visuals that suggest, hey man, take some drugs. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
there are these bands that really kind of try to indulge you into doing that. Yeah, I mean, not necessarily, but the music that
There is a big suggestion.
there's a big suggestion. That's what I'd like to say. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
By the way, so who organizes
Oh,
the
the Wasserk thing.
yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
who organizes all of that?
So we're with a team of 8 people. And actually, a friend of mine started it all out first 3 years ago, and that's what I just talked about. The way it all started then. And I met this guy in, I would say, November last year. And we quickly became friends, and then he asked me to join the team of Wasserk, which and it is divided in multiple small groups. So we have social media, we have people who watch over the finances, and who would take and a small group who takes care of the all the decoration pretty much. And yeah, within these in this total group of 8 people, we started looking first of all for a new location because we wanted to expand from Hemingway.
Yeah.
And then yeah, we came to the location which unfortunately filed for bankruptcy like 2 weeks prior to the event. So we had a very small amount of time to focus on looking for a new location. And yeah, it's a lot of it's a lot of work for 8 people. I first of all I thought, okay, it's quite doable. I mean, you have 8 people, but it's an event. For this time around we wanted to grow to 600 people.
Holy shit.
Yeah, an audience of 600 people, which was realistic and it would fit the location. But yeah, we're moving on to we're trying to make sure that we can do the sixth edition of Wasok within, the most idealistic situation would be within the coming months, but it's hard to say. I'm not going to say it's going to happen within a couple of months because
Yeah.
it's hard to say that, but we're trying to seize every opportunity which we can get to right now. But it's a lot of fun, pretty much, to work with such an organization, and you call with DJ agencies, and you do all this stuff that you would not do at school at all.
Yeah, like
you-
you're like almost like you're in a small little business. But
exactly. Yeah.
It's not necessarily official, but it's
No,
it's
that's
still
the thing.
a real thing.
And the cool thing for me is pretty much, since you're growing to a new location and a bigger audience, that you're all basically doing something, and you know what it's about and what you have to give back to the community, and the feeling has to be right, but you're still kind of out on a limb somewhere, and you're just doing something.
Yeah, so you
there's a small bit of hope that everything will come out all right, of course.
like
But you're focusing on ensuring that. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
yeah, no, that's like real. How do you say, like real homegrown? I really like
Yeah.
like stories like that where like
Yeah, I mean, in some way, I don't know if that's the correct word for it, but I would say you're kind of pioneering new ground in a way, and it's scary, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's definitely a lot more fun than the study we're doing right now. I mean, I can go out all day, but the study right now.
Oh my
Jesus.
god, yeah, bro, I'm not wasting.
Holy shit!
We're not,
I mean, that's insane. Like, the second year right now, and
for me the biggest thing that bothers me is the inability for people at that school to like to organize things, because
the team,
my big thing is like processes. Like I like looking at the system of how things work, and then I like analyzing it, and then I it's like, for me it's almost like a puzzle piece. Like I feel like you have a bunch of boundaries that you have to work with, and you basically just try to throw things together that work. So it bothers me because like I look at the school and I'm like, it's not hard, but it's not easy, but it's doable. Like, you guys are fucking 56 years old. How can you not organize?
I agree. The thing is that what bugs me the most about especially the second year, right? Because we're doing a new study. That's the thing, where the study which we're doing right now was last year. It was in its pilot phase, and it was the first year. Now of course it's the second year of a new study, but since it's still the same team who organizes everything, my expectancy was that it was kind of streamlined. Right? Right?
Yeah.
That I'd come to school and that I'd come to a class, and everything would be prepared, and not, for instance, right now, that 2 times in a row the teacher doesn't show up.
Yeah.
Or that the criteria on which we're being graded is unclear 4 weeks into the semester, right? These things don't. I mean, I pay over 2,000 grand, over $2,000 a year, and it's fine, because I'd like to pay for a good education.
But you're putting in something and you're not receiving.
I don't know.
You're not receiving you're not even receiving like your lowest expectation. You're kind of just Because I know what you mean, but the thing is, I actually really want to try to fix this. So I'm now I'm an ambassador for the school.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So my job will basically be to go to America and try to recruit Americans to come to Stendon.
Cool. Okay. Like you have these country ambassadors, right?
That's pretty much what I am.
All right.
And then I'm also joining IBCO, and they have like 3 main. They have the event committee, social media committee, and they have one more.
Social media event. I know a friend of mine is in the event committee and social media, and then you have probably something regarding the actual study, though, right? It must be.
I don't know. I don't know.
I think I don't know the name for it, but I think because I went to one of those meetings in which they told about their job.
Fuck.
That
My
was your
phone
phone.
fell.
And I think it was basically that if anyone had any trouble regarding the study, they would come to that department of IBCO. I think that was the main task for them to solve issues.
So the thing is that they didn't have that. And
Okay.
so, because I asked to join them because I know like some of the people that are like up above in the organization.
Yeah.
So I asked them, I'm like, can I join? And they're like, oh, we're kind of full right now. And
Yeah.
and then one of them was like, actually, we want to create a feedback committee. So
Yeah.
I will sift through, organize, and try to deal with issues that people have.
Mm-hmm.
And not only just with like IBCO as like because they plan like a bunch of parties and shit like that, but also and events, but also just in general like the study because you know we actually have like there are student bodies at our school, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, no one's ever heard of that shit.
No, that's true. Yeah.
So that like obviously I'm like talking way ahead because I haven't even had a meeting about this yet, but like but I'm like because it's just me and another guy, right? Like there's only two people in the committee,
okay.
right?
Yeah,
so
in this new department.
In this new department. So the objective for me would be to basically get communication not only with IBCO, but also other organizations within Stendon.
Yeah.
So we can make it more efficient for students, but also for teachers, because so they have a line of communication between each other. That's not just like you go to Paul or something and you ask him a fucking question like he's just answering the shit like he's not doing anything in that moment, right? But like for example, if you were to come to the committee or whatever the fuck it's going to be called, like you would say like this is the problem, and then I would be like, okay, like this why is this a problem to you? Do you have any possible solutions to the problem?
Oh, that's cool.
So like I want to take the issues that people have and like I want to take them seriously. And I don't also just want to like take feedback and then just move on and try to deal with the teachers. I want to also go back to the people who actually made the complaint or have the thing that they're talking about
and show them like this is what we're doing.
Well, no, not even just ask them or show them, but ask them like, is there something that you want to like? Because like you know, like a lot of people in our study complain all the time, which is something that bothers the fuck out of me because you're literally having the same.
I complain too.
Oh no, I'm not saying, but it's like you're walking downstairs and you see a group of 5 people standing in the middle of the school. Like these fucking people, they don't know how to fucking organize a study, bro. Like swear to God, every time I walk downstairs.
Yeah, there's at least one group. Yeah.
Yeah. So like. And look, I get it, but the thing is, like, if you're gonna stand there and complain like that, which I no problem with.
Yeah.
But like, if there's an opportunity for you to complain and then do something about it, that's kind of what I want to start doing with the people who complain. Yeah. I also wanna poke them back and be like, is this you just complaining or is this you actually wanting to solve a problem? Because there's a big difference between.
I think then you'll reduce the complaints dramatically.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And because I also don't want to do it in a way where like I like you have to have the solution.
No.
But I do want to like get back to you and be like is this something you take seriously or is this something that you're thinking about over some bullshit that's probably going on in your life? Like you're just taking frustration out on something.
Exactly. That's a big difference. I think that's kind of a missing spot which we need.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Good. And how do you say like that's just the because like that's the thing I've been complaining about for the last year. Like literally I told Paul, I've told Miriam, I've told a couple of other teachers
in the study,
where I'm just like, you guys don't have any real form of communication. You guys have casual conversation. Because you even tell us that the teachers that you work with, you guys just like when you're walking in class, you're like, oh, did you do this? No. Oh, well, we'll talk about it later. It's like there's no formal or organized way.
I think there's no coherency between the lessons, right? It's not like that it's adjusted to one another. And no one seems to know. I mean, the BT teachers don't seem to know what's going on with the DBE, right? I mean, that's what I'm talking about with coherency. It doesn't seem to add up to each other.
Yeah.
At least this year, that's what I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, like, how do you say, like, you feel like a lot of teachers look like a bunch of headless chickens, bro.
Yeah,
They're all
and,
just,
and the classes are too.
yeah, you're all just like running, like they're all just running around, kind of like, I don't know.
I'm giving you this class right now. Here's the book, and do something else. See you next week. Bye.
Yeah,
that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah,
right
exactly. So.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So what we're doing right now is also complaining.
No,
right?
but see, like, look, like we're the difference between, or at least in my head, about complaining and like discussing is complaining is like when you talk about the same thing over and over and over, and you don't make any attempt to try to fix the problem, right? That's what I consider complaining.
Yeah.
But if you're like, how do you say? Because we're now having a discussion, right? It started off with the fact that our study, like, oh, don't get me started on the study.
Yeah,
We're already fucking.
I don't know. We could have been like half an hour in about that right now.
Oh yeah, no, easily. But
yeah.
I mean, is that 50 minutes?
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
I don't. How long do you want this to be for?
Oh, what are we on right now?
Like we are at 51 minutes.
Oh yeah, I think not too much over an hour, or it becomes uninteresting to listen to, right? I mean,
yeah, bro. So
I think that's at least for when I listen to podcasts, and I do listen to quite a few actually.
Yeah, what podcasts do you listen to?
Sometimes Dutch ones, sometimes American ones. There's this one from I don't know if it's NPR, but it's the startup podcast. And no, it used to be from Gimlet, but Gimlet was this company which has been bought by Spotify by now. But it's about startup companies, and first that was the most interesting season for me because it was about their own company. It was a podcast company podcasting about their own startup. That's really cool.
Yeah, that
was really cool because it combined the private life of the founder. It was Alex Bloomberg, if I get that right. And later on, he started interviewing other startups and other founders, and you really get the both the startup of the company and the effect it has on the founder itself, and that's really cool. That's a definite recommendation there. And the other thing, which is just when I take a shower, I like to listen to Stuff You Should Know podcast, and I don't know if that sounds familiar.
I've heard of it. I've never actually listened to it.
I mean, it covers a variety of subjects, really different ones. I don't know, like sometimes it's this very basic subject, like how do icebergs work, for instance, like things I would not search up on Google anytime. But if I'm taking a shower, I'll just give it a quick listen. Then it's fine.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like to listen to some interviews with especially with some artists. Like right now, I'm actually listening to. It's a Dutch one. It's called Bucky Bucky.
Bucky. Okay.
Yeah. With this and they're interviewing this Dutch DJ, which is growing particularly fast right now. And so those kind of things, like the biopics ones, I would say, and more like informative podcasts. I like those ones. So sometimes I give a quick listen to a Dutch politics podcast, which is Haagse Zaken is what it's called.
Okay.
But those are Oh, and one thing actually, sometimes I can be quite a nerd. I listen to Mac Break Weekly.
To what?
It's called Mac Break Weekly.
Mac Break Weekly.
Yeah, it covers everything Apple related. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
No, but I
mean, Mac. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
How do you say it? I get stuff like that because, but I don't personally. I don't have interest in those things.
No. I of course. Yeah. No, for me, that's why I'm saying it. I can be quite a nerd.
But like, dude, I have the same thing. Like, you've listened to Joe Rogan's podcast, I'm assuming.
Yeah, dude. Not all the time, but I've heard some episodes.
I listen to a lot, and normally what I do is, I also like listening to just like they're still podcasts, but they're mainly conversations. Like I like listening to debates.
Oh yeah.
because debates are interesting because it's like you're basically having this like highly intellectual conversation,
Yeah.
but you're trying like, and because it's intellectual, you're trying to be very formal in the way you're doing it,
Yeah.
right? Like you're trying not to disrespect the other person. You're not trying to interrupt them. But it's funny because like you see the emotion like people get over like a really complicated issue, right? Like
Yeah.
literally like healthcare systems, like
Mm-hmm.
the way the economy works and all
Yeah,
that shit.
yeah.
And they're just sitting there like debating between themselves like how it should be run, what is best for like the people of this country and also the world and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like the emotion that they like get from it is like it's weird because they get so frustrated, but like they're also really calm at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this weird thing because like they're like I listened to a 3 hour podcast on the definition of truth, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. Yeah.
like when you start listening to
3
that
hours,
shit,
Yeah. Okay.
you like I mean to be fair, like I'll say that like when you listen to conversations like that,
Yeah.
most of it is completely useless information. Like
I mean, for 3 hours, yeah.
oh yeah, because they talk about this either talk about the same things or they talk about things that just generally aren't interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean even debate like I don't even like thinking about the word truth now because of that.
Oh, because it gives.
Because it gives me
different.
such a headache, man. Because
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
there are like 20 different 20 different roads that you can go into something like that.
Yeah.
But another reason I also like debate podcasts is the way that you learn how to have a conversation and also how to deal with like conflict, right? Because like
Yeah.
because I noticed like here, like especially in the Netherlands, like people they're not as used to conflict as I am. Because in America, right, like that's kind of like you walk in, you know, you kind of like you joke around, like I mean, people still do it here, but how do you say like if you make like a quick offhand joke, people will like take it seriously, and like obviously at a certain point they realize it's a joke, right? But like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Although, I'm not too sure about the conflict part though, because being Dutch myself, I know that, not necessarily me in particular, but other Dutch people. I mean, it is this kind of stereotypical thing that we're direct, right?
Yeah.
And that we just say what's on our mind and we just speak it out, and that does. In one way, it does resolve in conflict because of that.
yeah,
Because of we're being so direct to each other, but on the other hand, it kind of doesn't, because when everybody's being so direct to each other all the time, it actually makes sure it enables, well, how do I say that, it kind of makes sure that there's no need for conflict.
yeah.
You're
Like how
so open to one another. Right?
Dutch
That's-
directness
yeah.
is like it's like a solution for conflict basically.
Yeah, but it could result in conflict.
Yeah, but
It's a two-way thing.
it also
really.
results in conflict, which
Yeah.
I find. But that's the thing about Dutch people is like they either go all in for something, like they're like we're direct, we're gonna try to not have conflict.
Yeah.
But in the fact that they try to go all in with that, they actually end up sometimes having
Exactly.
the most conflict
Yeah,
with
yeah.
something, because like, but like even in situations like that, like the thing I've learned is the best way to get out of a situation where you're like kind of stuck is just to kind of continue walking through it. Like even in a conversation, like like sometimes I'll call like someone a bitch, but it'd be like a joke, right? Like I don't like if I'm calling someone a bitch, like I've only ever called one person here on purpose a bitch, and that was this guy was acting like a retard at a party, and he walked back in and he was like, "Yo, can I have a cig?" And I'm like, "You can have a cig if you leave." And then he's like, "Yeah, okay."
That's being real bitchy though.
Yeah, no. So I was like, I gave it to him, and I'm thinking to myself, this guy is not gonna leave.
No.
But I was kind of asking, like I was like in my head, I'm like, I'm so down to just fucking argue with this guy.
Yeah.
So I give him the cig, and he's like, fuck you, and I'm like, I literally go, I'm like, you're a fucking bitch, go home, like kill yourself, nobody wants you. You're like, just going out and.
I mean, the last bit.
No,
Okay.
but like, how do you say, like, he 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 he's one of those people where like in that situation, right? Like he's really fucking fucked up, right? And people are giving him all this attention because, like,
Uh-huh.
for example, this was at Students' Day, right? So
Yeah.
we were like downstairs in the living room,
Uh-huh.
and then at a certain point we were outside, like right, like up above. You know the stairs that goes down to the basement of the
I've seen it,
bikes. We were standing like right there, and like, you had like people like walking around like asking you a bunch of questions like what's going on and all
Yeah,
this
of course, yeah.
bullshit, and then like he walked by us and then they were all started talking to him, and I'm like, see, you're giving him exactly what the fuck he wants, right? You're giving
That's not
him
gonna work, yeah.
that tension, that conflict of attention, right? You're just like, you're giving him that.
Yeah.
So like in that situation, right, like like when I give him the cigarette, even though I know he's probably not going to leave,
Yeah.
in my mind, I'm like, now I have an excuse to tell this guy to genuinely fuck off.
Yeah.
And like, not in a way where it's like, oh yeah, man, fuck off or something like that, but
like serious, yeah.
but like in a way where, like, I'm like dead ass about it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, genuinely, no one in your life likes you. Like that's like that's the mentality of like I have of like when I say those words.
I mean, but that's also like alcohol induced.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was drunk as well, so
Right,
like
I mean,
again, like
yeah.
it's not a surprise, but
No.
but back to the like original like point of like
Yeah.
conflict is like I think one of the most important things that a human being, like, if you just in general understand what conflict is and how
Yeah.
to and the emotions it has, it's really simple
Mhm.
to just walk through life, because like
Yeah.
whenever like now, like whenever someone brings up a problem, in my mind, if I go like that's not a problem, I just go that's not a fucking problem. Like
Okay. I think that's like in another way, kind of like prioritizing issues or things.
Yeah,
Right. Like,
like-
okay, this I can focus on, but if I focus on it, it doesn't change a fucking thing. Right?
yeah.
And this is another thing in my life, and if I focus on this, I can change it. And then you decide, okay, this is more priority than the other one because this I can actually do something.
Yeah, and
I think that's kind of ties in with the one.
yeah. I mean, like, how do you? Because like again, like even I'm process oriented, not only in the way that like I'm good at looking at that stuff, but that's actually how I view the world. That's why it makes it easier for me to like recognize processes, because that's just how I view the world, right?
Uh-huh.
So
I guess so.
in my sense, right, like when someone says something to me, like it's like I have like a process of like, I mean, everyone pretty much does. Like someone
Yeah.
says something to you, you like
You process it,
deconstruct it,
yeah,
and then you have an
100%.
emotion
and it
and a
happens also
response.
fast because
Yeah.
the brain works like that. Yeah.
But like in my mind, like nowadays, if people like start talking about stuff that I just don't think is important, like I either just don't say a word, or if they direct it at me, I'm just like, dude, I really like, I just don't want to deal with it, because a lot of the things that like I realize, because like America, fucking weird ass place. Netherlands also a weird ass place.
Unfortunately, I haven't been there yet, but
Oh.
of course, definitely one day. But yeah.
San Diego or LA, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
LA then. Yeah.
LA, yeah. You should become a clout chaser. Oh, bro.
Yeah. No, but yeah.
All right, man. I think it's a good place to end the podcast. This
Yeah, I
motherfucker's
think this
already
is,
long as shit.
What are we? Ooh, over an hour. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a sweet spot for me.
Yeah, no,
Obviously.
an hour.
Yeah.
Like people are like 30 minutes, and I'm like 30 minutes is short. Like I feel like you don't get a.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it really depends on the topic and this, the whole situation pretty much. Because if we're sitting down, then an hour is good. An hour is you can go and cover different subjects, get back to another subject which you've previously talked about, and I think that's cool pretty much. Yeah, and sometimes a podcast like a news podcast or something or politics, then 10 to 20 minutes actually works for me.
Yeah,
But it really, like, again, it depends on the subject for me.
yeah. Actually, one of my favorite shows on YouTube is Snoop Dogg's show. He has a show on YouTube.
Really,
bro.
he does?
Yeah, well, he just invites like people he likes, and just smokes blunts with them. It's great because they're all high as fuck, and like Snoop Dogg is like just like spitting a bunch of like his knowledge that he has, you know?
Yeah.
Because he's so fucking old. And then you have like the person like sitting next to him is like really fucking high because like, you know, like Snoop Dogg is like, his tolerance is fucking way up there.
Of course, yeah.
So he probably smokes a joint. He's like, I don't feel anything.
I need to get at least 3 to 5 or something.
Yeah, and they're just like, fuck, man. The room's starting to spin or some shit like that.
Yeah.
All right, man. But nice talking to you.
Yeah. It was,
I hope you enjoyed it.
I did, actually. Yeah. It was good talking. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening to Consistently Inconsistent, the new name of the podcast, episode 13. See you guys later. Thank you for listening.